Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And today I have with me Courtney Epps. Now, I found Courtney because I was like, you know what? I get so many people asking me about, like, how do I handle my taxes? And I'm like, I don't know. So I went to the almighty Google and searched tax preparers who help network marketers. And she was at the top of the list. And I went and researched her and looked everywhere. And she just kept coming up over and over again as connected to people that I really respect in the world of network marketing. And so let me tell you a little more about Courtney Epps. Courtney is a tax strategist, international speaker, and author of the best-selling books, More Relaxing, Less Taxing, and What's Your Plan B? She owns a full-service accounting firm called OTB Tax in South Carolina and serves clients in every state. She has owned her practice for 23 years now. Now, she has developed a broad expertise in industries, including traditional, home-based, and network marketing businesses. And she works with clients from startup all the way up to $100 million companies. And her mission is to teach more people on how to free up money through tax strategy so that we can help more, have more, and so that they can live more and give more. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You know, I was so excited to find someone like you because I wasn't even sure if there were tax preparers out there who wanted to help network marketers and focused on helping network marketers and home-based businesses. And so when your name came up over and over and over again, I was like, I have got to talk to Courtney. You and I had a fantastic conversation the first time we chatted just to see if there was alignment, and it worked out really well. And I loved your story of how you got into this. So how did you end up becoming a tax preparer who helps home-based businesses?
So I actually started college when I was 16 with a 5-year account, and I went to school after I graduated high school. I had an associate's degree that same time. And then I went for another 2 years, took 105 hours and got my equivalent of a master's degree in accounting. And so I really hated accounting. I was 20 years old. I worked for a really large regional firm during college and after college, and I quit in the middle of tax season the first year. Like, I hated it. I'm like, I'm never, ever doing this again, right? And so that was kind of my start in the tax world. And so I started doing taxes for people outside of a firm, and I would do them January through April. And I really didn't know how to build a practice outside of tax season. And I thought at the time that taxes were seasonal, but they're not. Like, if you're a good accountant, you can work all year long. And that's, where we are today. But I started trying to do everything but. Like, I had a jewelry store, I had an advertising business, I did insurance, and then that led me into having my own PNC agency. And then I started doing tax returns again for people and bookkeeping, only because the people that I was doing insurance for, their books were not right. So they were overpaying in taxes, or they were overpaying in insurance because their books weren't up to date. So that naturally became a fit. Well, I built that up to 3,500 clients, and by the time I was 29 years old, and I sold it because I was short on cash flow. So I was building really hard, but I needed more employees. I didn't have the cash flow, and so I ended up selling it, and the guy I sold it to stopped paying me, and I lost everything. And so that was rough. That was really rough. And it was supposed to be about a $900,000 deal. I ended up getting about 150,000 of that. And the IRS levied 47,000 of the money that I received. So that was good times, right? And funny thing is that I had actually contacted the IRS and told them I wanted to set up a payment plan. So when I became collectible at the time, they just levied it off. So had I not contacted them, there never would have been a conversation. There would never have been anybody involved, and I would have had that money and no problem. So there's my whole dilemma on maybe not calling the IRS, right? So maybe call an accountant first. But I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. And so I started trying to do network marketing. And I saw that as a really good way to create a stream of income. And as I started doing network marketing, I fell in love with it. You know, at the beginning, it was literally I was going to go get tax clients out of it, and I was going to build my tax practice. But I fell in love with the network marketing and started doing that, became a 6-figure income earner in the second company that we were part of. But I had this skill set that I had done over 900 tax returns for people in the network marketing industry that the year before they were just W-2 employees. And when they started a business, they were saving $4,000 to $8,000 a year. And so I'm like, man, this is crazy. You know, I had a little bit of a funk back in 2017, and I kind of stopped doing everything. I stopped doing network marketing. I stopped doing accounting. I'm like, we're done. And, June 30th of 2017, I showed up to a Tony Robbins and Gary V event, and that was kind of life-changing for me. It was like, man, okay, you need to stop not being a professional, because that was what I was really scared of, and making a wrong decision. And I was undervaluing myself, and I was self-sabotaging myself. And I'm like, you know, I really was good at taxes, and I'm really good at this, and I think I can build a full-time career out of it. And so I made the decision to not do network marketing anymore. And I picked up the phone and called a handful of my people that I knew in the network marketing industry that had 10,000 people on their team plus. And I said, hey, if you put me in front of your team, I'll teach them how to get in to a home-based business by the tax savings. I'll teach them how to stay in long enough to win, and force them to do the things that they want to do, right, that you need them to do, which is go to events and open their mouth and share with people what they're doing. And so that makes them more successful. And then when they start making money, then I'm going to teach them how to keep more of it. And if you would just put me in front of your team, I will do that, and I'll commit to never being in the network marketing industry again. And that's what they did. And 6 of them, and one day, had this idea, and 6 of them one day said yes. The 7th one didn't, and he has not been successful in the network marketing industry. The rest of them have. I'll say that right here. So, and the 7th one, what he said was, I'll put you in front of my team if you join my team. And I'm like, I just told you, I'm not doing network marketing anymore. I feel like I was put on this earth to free up money so people could join the companies that they want to. And if I'm stuck in one company, not stuck, but if I'm in one company, I can only help that company. I want to help everybody. Yeah. And so that's how I got to where I'm at today.
Yeah. See, I agree, because I ended up very much doing something similar with the coaching piece, right? Which is when I started coaching, I was coaching exclusively in one company, but I started having people reach out to me from other companies. So, oh my gosh, I feel that. So since in that growth that you've had since 2017, then, which is really interesting, because that's around the time I started my business. We've been doing this for the same amount of time. Yeah. How did it take us this long to connect? Oh my gosh.
Correct.
So in this time, then, approximately how many network marketers, home-based businesses, have you been able to help improve save more money and keep more money that they make from paying in taxes?
So we do 2,500 tax returns a year. We probably, as far as people goes, that's about 1,500 people. And, you know, some clients have a corporate and a personal. Some of them have multiple companies. And what I find is that it's not just home-based business, right? It's somebody who joined a home-based business, and there may be a chiropractor or a veterinarian, or, you know, they may have a gym or a manufacturing company. Like, all of these clients have come to us, and our business has grown from literally January 30th of 2017, $0, because I was not doing anything, to 3.7 million. And so It's really, last year we grew $900,000 and didn't spend a dollar on marketing or advertising. I didn't do any lives. Like, I think maybe one or two people asked me to do a podcast or an interview, so I agreed to do it. But I had to really stop and back in 2022 and get our systems in place and our structure and our staff, because we grew so very fast from 19 to 20, because I spoke on Eric Worre's stage to 10,000 people, and it just exploded. And it was so overwhelming for so long that when it finally calmed down just a little bit, I'm like, man, I don't want to grow anymore. So I stepped back, I stopped speaking, I stopped marketing and all that, and we still continue to massively grow. So I'm super excited. Now we have everything in place to be able to take on more clients, and me still also feel comfortable and confident that we can help them and do what's in their best interest. Whereas before, it was super hard. I mean, accounting firms grow 10% a year typically. I mean, we grew from 800,000 in 19 to 2.6 million and in 2020, when the average accounting firm was losing 40. And it was because of the network marketing industry, because clients didn't come to our office. Clients still don't come to our office. Like, they're all over the country. And so we still continue to get referrals. And so we're so thankful for the network marketing industry, which is why I still love to give back and speak anytime somebody wants me to speak. And we do that for our teams now, our clients and their teams, just to help them understand the benefits of having a home-based business.
Nice. Now, I know, obviously, because podcasts are evergreen, right?
Yep.
We don't want to give specific, tax advice or anything like that. So what would you say are maybe the top 1 to 3 mistakes that you see network marketers doing that you help your clients stop doing when they start working with you?
So, and we typically, this is kind of how it works in a tax strategy session. It's 3 things that people typically overpay in taxes. One is the missed expenses. So they just either due to lack of knowledge for themselves, or they go to an accountant and they're like, no, that's not a legitimate business. We can't write those things off. So they're not taking advantage of tax deductions.
Yeah.
I've literally had clients come to me that were in the network marketing business that their accountant told them that it was a scam, like that they needed to get out. Like, I mean, I've heard so many crazy horror stories over it. Like, you're going to get audited, all of these things. It's just not true. Like, and the only reason I know that is because I'm doing enough tax returns for business owners and only business owners that I've had 12 clients audited in 25 years, right? 3 corporate returns have been audited in 25 years. So what we have been taught as accountants is that if you have a home-based business or claim business use of home, or have a handful of these deductions like travel and auto and stuff like that, you're more likely to be audited. It's just a lie. So they're missing expenses due to either lack of knowledge, or they don't have a good bookkeeper, right? They're not tracking their expenses, or their accountant is telling them, you can't take that. The second reason is structure, typically, and that is huge. I mean, you can almost cut someone's tax bill in half if they're structured properly. So if they have an LLC, treated as an S corporation, once they get to a certain level of income, that becomes extremely beneficial. And I'll just tell you that income number. If you're making more than $12,000 a year after expenses, that's the break-even point where the amount of money you pay us to do the work is equal to the amount of money that you save in taxes. And anything over that is just a gimme. That's like your money, right? It's free money. Whereas the majority of accountants will tell you that you've got to make $50,000 or $100,000 a year after expenses in order for it to be beneficial to have an S corp election. And I'm like, it's just math. Like, it's math. Like, seriously, if it costs you more money to pay taxes than it does to, you charge me, right? I could charge you the fee, and that breaks even. Anything above that is where we want to be, right?
Right.
Would you rather pay me, or would you rather pay the IRS? Because I'm a tax deduction. The IRS is not, right? So the money you pay in taxes isn't. So it's just math. And just this morning, I had a tax strategy session with a client I met in a group. Mm-hmm. He's a financial advisor. Him and his partners, he has 3 partners. They each own a massive financial firm. They do, stocks, bonds, all that good stuff. All of them are overpaying $40,000 a year in self-employment taxes and have been for 5 or 6 years. And so I'm like, well, we can't do anything for 21, but I can go back to 22 and get all of you back 120. I can get total $120,000 a year for 22, 23, and we can save you guys $120,000 a year this year. That's pretty much a no-brainer, right?
Right.
I mean, but no one has these conversations. So even traditional business, unless you're working with a big four firm, right, they're not going to give you that tax strategy. So the structure is the second biggest thing. And then once someone is structured properly, then they're overpaying themselves in a paycheck, which is defeating the purpose of the structure altogether. So those are kind of the three things that I see. Definitely there's much higher level stuff. The more money you make, there's obviously lots of things that you can do legally, morally, and ethically to keep more of your money. But those are the three high level.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So in addition to those three things that you said, what sticks out to me is what can you do to keep your money legally, morally, and ethically? Because there's a lot of people who are like, well, I don't want to do something bad. You're not telling people to do something bad. It's what is legal, moral, and ethical. I think that's a really important piece for people to understand. So I love that. So in doing this, because I think there's a lot of people who freak out about taxes. Like you were saying, there were, even accountants and tax preparers who, go, well, you can't do this or whatever. How do you help ease people, ease their mind that this is something that they should at least have a conversation with you for?
Typically, I don't have, people that come to me, like they already know they want our services because they're referrals.
Okay.
And we've already gone back and, one of their friends or one of their upline or whatever has already said, hey, you need to use Courtney, right? But in this situation, there are, just to help people understand, jobs are created from small to medium-sized businesses. So 70% of all jobs in this country are created from small to medium-sized businesses. So there are massive tax benefits by being a business owner. So I could literally show you on paper, if you made $100,000 a year as a W-2 employee and I made $100,000 a year as a business owner, I'm going to hands down save at least $15,000 a year over your money, period.
Wow.
So when you understand that, we as business owners, the purpose, right, the goal, Congress understands this, is that if we save money in taxes and we build a big business, we got to have employees. Mm-hmm. And so the employees then pay the lion's share of taxes. So there really is a system that was created to build wealth, which is the business owner tax system. And there's a system in this country that was created to steal wealth away. And that's the W-2 employee system. Literally, give me all your money up front as far as taxes go. Then we're going to take all this money. We're going to put money into health insurance. You're going to pay for that. Then you're going to put all this money and sock it into retirement. And then if you need it, we're going to hit you with a 10% penalty. And we're going to keep it to your 59.5. You can't afford to pay. You can't afford to pay all your bills. So now you're in credit card debt. It's literally a system that was created to just steal every dime of wealth away from you. And so I'm not knocking the W-2 employee tax system. And I'm not saying everybody's necessarily cut out to do home-based business full-time, but it is for everyone that doesn't want to pay so much in taxes, right? So, period. If you find something, and I tell people this all the time, just find something you're passionate about that you can open your mouth and tell people. If you like makeup, find a makeup company. If you like travel, find a travel company. All you're doing, essentially, when you're joining these companies, is getting a very valuable product, right? Because they have some of the most amazing products in the network marketing industry that I've ever seen. Yeah. And because they require education. So if you just put it on a shelf, you're typically not going to sell it as much as somebody saying, hey, I love this product. This is what it's done for me. So you're buying a product at wholesale versus retail that you like, that's a good product. And then in turn, you are sharing that information with other people that they could potentially buy the product or service. And then you're making money off of it. And in the process, even if you don't ever make $1, you're saving money in taxes just by attempting to do it. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's like the smartest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's how Amazon grew. I mean, but the thing is that Amazon only gave a one-time fee, right? And then they got all the back end. It's perfect. So with the affiliate model, the network marketing industry is like, if I share this one time, it's like me. If somebody was out there that I could just send and let them do all the tax returns, I could just run my mouth all day long and be like, hey, buddy, like send me referrals. I don't even have to build a business over here. You just send me the residual off of it. That would be what the network marketing industry is, and is brilliant. And the people that get involved in it, like I've learned so much from this industry that I've actually used for my accounting practice. So
yeah,
I'll shut up.
No, well, here's the thing. So what you're saying is brilliant. So please don't feel like you have to shut up. This is good information. But I want to share a story that backs up what you're talking about, which is, I was previously married and I had my network marketing business for the last 10 years that my spouse and I were together. And then the first year we were officially divorced, we were discussing taxes and who's going to take what kid and, the blah, 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 right? Like all of those different things. And then after our taxes got filed and we contacted each other, okay, how did you come out? How did it happen? Blah, blah, blah. Because we have a good relationship. He was like, I owed money.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
And because he hadn't realized what benefit we had because I had a network marketing business, because I had a home-based business.
Yeah.
And we were able to take off so much in taxes just because of my business being there. Yeah. I didn't even have to be making a ton of money for the benefit to be there. So I told him, I was like, look, if you don't want to owe.
You'll get married again?
No.
Just kidding.
My solution for him was much simpler than that.
Get a home-based business.
Get a home-based business. Like, yes. And you don't, again, I told him, I said, you don't have to work it and make da 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 da. Like, you don't have to make a ton of money with it. You just have to show that you're working the business, make some money. And,
yes,
I'm not a tax expert, nor do I claim to be on the internet or in real life. But hello, we've got proof of that based on that, because when he and I divorced, my business was not making the money it is now.
Correct. Like, and even if it is, you're not paying the taxes because you've got the qualified business income deduction. So you immediately, as a business owner, you don't have to pay tax on 20% of your net income from your business. That's a huge deal, right? I mean, and then you can structure it so you don't have to pay the FICA taxes and the matching FICA. And there's just, the list goes on. And as you make more money, right, there's so much more that you don't even know about. Like, there's investment strategies over $250,000 a year if you're an accredited investor. We just, put $250,000 into a real estate syndicate that's 100% tax deduction. I'll earn 15 to 18% a year off of the money. And then, we'll end up getting our money back in 5 to 7 years, double what we put into it, plus the money that we're making each month. So that's much better than the average. I actually found out this past weekend, the average 401k makes 4.2%. That's what it's made over the last 20 years. 4.2% after the fees, right? Because all the hidden fees that the financial advisors get is 4.2%. So, I mean, I'd be better off to put my money into a savings account than I would into a 401k and leave it. So, and that's a lot of times that the only real thing that accountant will tell someone is you need to put money into retirement. No, that's not where I go. So I don't want to pre-tax anything. I want to eliminate taxes, right? I want to hire my kids. I want to put them on payroll. I want to pay them. I want to make my kids owners of our company. Our kids are actually on 30% of our company now. So I'm shifting income off of me and onto them. And then if something happens to me, they own the company, right? I mean, so I don't have to worry about those things. On top of that, I'm saving a ton of money in taxes. And then, my kids are also my employees. They have a pool, right? That's the tax deduction. So, their education is tax deductible. I mean, because they're my employees, so I can write off 100% of those things. So there's just so many things that you can add into the tax code. It's in the tax code. Like, there's literally part of the tax code that says if you have employees and you allow them to utilize your pool, swimming pool, exercise facility, golf course, or tennis court, then it's 100% tax deductible. That's code. That's literally tax code. And so there's so many things like that we just, as normal individuals, we don't know. And I didn't learn that stuff in college. I learned that by I was in the network marketing industry. Somebody told me about a book called Lower Your Taxes Big Time by Sandy Botkin, who's 85 now. He was a tax attorney, right? He was an IRS tax attorney. He worked for the IRS, trained IRS attorneys. And I learned so much. I learned more in that book of reading it than I learned in the entire 5-year accounting degree that I have. And then I started just teaching his content because I was like, it's a tax attorney. He worked for the IRS. So his information is sound. And I started, the first chapter of his book is Why You Be Brain Dead Not on a Home-Based Business, which is what my book is called, right? Yeah. And so I just utilized his content and shared it in a way that it was easy for people to understand, little tidbits of information. He did not do taxes. Obviously, I'm the only one that I really know that teaches this stuff and actually does it as well. So I don't prepare tax returns. My staff does. I've got 12 employees, and 3 of my kids work for me now, actually full time. And then my younger kids, I had them do marketing, and, Amelia, she just was born. So she's a model, right, on how to hire your kids. She's a model for OTB Tax.
I love that so much. And I've, since you and I have become friends on Facebook, I've been so loving all the pictures of the babies.
Thank you. She's so sweet.
She's
so pretty.
Adorable. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and you got a good number of kids, right? I mean,
7.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. More kids than I've got. That's what I remembered. Yes. I think that's so smart though, and here's the thing. Many of us don't know those things. And a network marketer could very easily hire their child to do certain things for them.
Yes.
Right. And so there's options. But again, with me not being the tax professional, talk to Courtney. Okay. Badass crew, have a conversation with her. In fact, you and I were chatting during the pre-interview, and you offered to do a 15-minute complimentary tax strategy conversation with my listeners who reach out to you and say, hey, I have questions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because normally people have to pay for your time, and you offered a complimentary 15-minute tax strategy session. Isn't it good to know you don't have to be perfect to be a podcaster? Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, I think that's amazing and incredibly generous. Thank you so much for offering that for the Badass Crew, because I know that I've had clients ask me questions. I'm like, look, I don't know. Talk to your tax person because I don't know. And luckily, so far, nobody's come back to me and told me, hey, my tax professional says this is a scam. I should leave. Thank goodness, because I'd have to have a phone call with that person right now. But that's really amazing. So we have a link that you've given me. So Badass Crew, I know you guys already know. The link is in the show notes. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, the link is in the description if you would like to book your complimentary 15-minute tax strategy session with Courtney. If this is your first time listening to the show and you are like, yes, I want to talk to Courtney. What do you mean? How do I find the link? Where is it? All you have to do is grab your phone, as long as you're not driving. Click on today's episode, scroll under Courtney's picture, and you're going to see the link. We're going to make it really obvious in the show notes. Here's how you book your 15-minute tax strategy session with Courtney with OTB Tax. Thank you, Courtney. This has been an eye-opening conversation. I mean, truly eye-opening. I knew there were some interesting things we could do with our businesses. I did not realize it was that interesting.
That's right.
So thank you for being here. I so appreciate you and your expertise and time.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And of course, Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.